So here's the deal. First of all, question segment. Here's the way it works. If you guys want to join the conversation and ask UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping a question, or myself, I'm not chopped liver, motherfuckers. I know some shit about the world as well. You guys can shoot us an email, bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com, bym@gasdigitalnetwork.com. We will always pick a few questions and answer them absolutely as honestly as possible. Also, take a moment right now, go to iTunes, leave us a 5-star ranking, positive review. Tell you some friends about the show. It's the best fucking MMA podcast on the planet. We don't fuck around.
Far.
Inside news with the UFC middleweight champion every week. That's crazy.
Every week.
Yeah. So here's the deal, Mike. This is the first question. Hey, Mike, love the podcast. Not hey, Mike and Lewis, but that's fine. Okay. Here's my question. What's your thoughts on the whole Mighty Mouse versus TJ Dillashaw situation? I lost some respect for Mighty Mouse after he was unwilling to fight TJ since his fight got canceled. He wants to get the record for the most consecutive title defenses, but it seems like he wants to take the easy route because his excuse was that TJ didn't earn his shot. I was pretty excited for Garbrandt versus Dillashaw, and now we have nothing. So it really sucks. Conceive, believe, achieve, Zach. So yeah, beyond that, it's gone beyond this because Demetrious Johnson has now come out and fucking released a huge statement about being mistreated by Sean Shelby, the UFC, saying that the UFC isn't trying to push the 125-pound division. I mean, I'll pull up some of these quotes in a second, but chime in for a second. Mike, what do you think about this whole situation so far?
Yeah, so listen, sorry, who asked that question?
That was Zach.
Well done, Zach. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening and tuning in. So initially when I heard that it's confusing, isn't it? Fucking DJ and TJ. Anyway, they're both little guys. When I heard that DJ didn't want to fight TJ, I did. Initially, I was like, come on, Demetrious. You know, you've been on a tear for so long. You've proven yourself to be an amazing fighter, but you've got to step up and take on the best challenges you can get. And, of course, Demetrious is a guy, you know, I'm not trying to kick the man while he's down. Well, I'm just not trying to kick him. He's always down. Is because, you know, you got to take on the best fighters, and he's been very good, but he hasn't been a proven pay-per-view draw. He hasn't, you know, drew good ratings when he's been on Fox. A fight against him and versus TJ Dillashaw, that to me, I think that would be a big fight. I would really be invested in seeing that fight. So I was kind of confused why he wouldn't accept that. And I had the same kind of impression, Zach. I was a little bit miffed, and I wouldn't say I lost respect for him because that's not true, because I respect him greatly. But I was a little disappointed that he wouldn't immediately say, yeah, let's do it. But is it today or very, very recently he's come out with a statement about how the UFC have been mistreating him? Basically, he put his side of the story forward. Do you have some of the quotes there, Lewis?
Yeah, I do.
To give context for the listener?
Yeah, no, of course. But I wanted to, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to immediately get shit about saying, oh, you know, he should fight the best fighter. Because they're going to be like, you wanted to fight.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you listen to his reasoning, then you could understand why he didn't take that. Because initially, I think he said he wanted to fight Cody Garbrandt. Then they said the UFC's told him that that's not a fight that people are interested in. They told him that he had no choice but to fight Ray Borg. So he accepted the fight with Ray Borg, and then now they changed it and said he has to fight TJ. If he doesn't take that, they're going to stop doing fights in the featherweight division, period, and all this type of stuff. Now, I'm paraphrasing Demetrious Johnson's words. Do you have the quote in front of you, Lewis, so the listeners have context to what I'm saying?
Yes, but it's so long.
I know, but just pick out the juiciest bits.
Oh my God! If you were looking at this right now, it is pages and pages and pages long.
Okay, where do I find it? I will do it immediately. Immediately, I will pick out the best bit. Where do I go?
If you go to MMA, you go to MMA Junkie. It's on there. Okay.
Right. In ongoing battle, that isn't the one. Why is Dana UFC shaping up as Demetrius' greatest? Oh, that's not it. Where is it? Right, here we go. I'm waiting for it to load. Lewis has it in front of him on a laptop. I have just loaded it on an iPhone.
You're on the phone doing it? Oh, you're fucking pro, dude. This is why you're a UFC champion. I don't have that same type of motivation and spirit.
UFC matchmaker Mick Maynard called and offered me the fight versus Ray Borg. I thought Sergio Pettis was way more marketable and on a longer winning streak. Mick went back to Dana, then came back and told me that I had no choice. It was going to be Ray Borg, not Pettis, and there was no other options. That was the command from Dana and company. This would mean that my only chance at pay-per-view points at flyweight was Ray Borg. Oh, fucking hell, it does go on for a long time.
It's crazy. There's so much.
It goes on and on and on. Listen, let me paraphrase. He's not happy with the UFC. Simple as that. Demetrious is a long-time champion. I feel when you've defended the belt, 10 times, I feel that you do have a say. I mean, as a world champion, you do have a say anyway. Regardless of the situation, regardless of how we got to this point, I feel like Demetrious should fight TJ because that is a big fight.
I agree. Well, here's the other thing. Like, for you, like, look, dude, you took the fucking you wanted the GSP fight because that's worth millions and millions of dollars. Tons of eyes on it. It wasn't to protect some sort of silly record that doesn't really matter. There's not. I get the bragging rights of having the longest running record, but the reality of it is, I don't see that's this valuable thing that you need to protect. I remember back when, I forget where it was, but I was there in Vegas, and it was after Demetrious Johnson. I believe it was UFC 202, or it was UFC 202 because that was the one that was in Vegas. Whoever he had fought after that, they asked him if he wanted to fight Dominic Cruz. And he sidestepped the question and sort of talked about how he wanted to get the record for the most consecutive title defenses. And that's fine, but I got to be honest with you, dude. You know, that's not what's going to bring the value to Demetrious Johnson. And Demetrious Johnson's a fucking unbelievable fighter, dude. That last performance, dude, he's finishing fights. It's not like he's skating by with boring performances and he's not, closing the deal. But the truth of the matter is, I don't hear anybody excited about Demetrious Johnson fights coming up unless it's matched up with another big fight. So the truth is, I think that Demetrious Johnson, he should be looking for the absolute biggest fights possible. I kind of agree with him that Ray Borg isn't, a super big fight or a fight that's going to get a ton of people excited about it. But at the same, I'm almost torn.
Yeah, listen, you're absolutely right, and I'm going to stop you right there, and I'm going to come in with some facts and knowledge. At the end of the day, he's cleaned out the featherweight division. It's as simple as that. I mean, what are the options? Who gives a fuck about him fighting Ray Borg? Not many people. What's he going to do? Fight fucking Jiu-Jitsu, Joseph Benavidez for a third, fourth, fifth time? No one cares about those matchups either. Fact of the matter is, he's very good. He's very dominant. He's gone through the whole division. Dominic Cruz, TJ Dillashaw, Cody Garbrandt. These are the guys that he needs to be targeting now. These are the fights that are going to set him up possibly for his retirement. These are the big money fights. These are the fights that are going to sell, that the public will be invested at, and that the UFC can really sell. The UFC can't really sell Demetrious versus Ray Borg. Yes, okay, they can put it on the top of an FS1 fight now, but it won't get much media attention and much traction. And that was one of Demetrious' main points, that the UFC weren't marketing him. But the UFC have a marketing machine, and I guess they have to pick and choose which ones they push. They can't push everything.
I don't know if they can push
Cody,
him. I think
versus TJ, they can push that shit. People want to see that. So they're the fights that he should focus on. Now, of course, he's not happy with the circumstances surrounding, and if you read Demetrious' statement, which is very long, as we said, but if you read it, you can understand and you can sympathize. But still, as a fighter, the biggest fights are the ones I said. They're the ones, he doesn't need to prove himself. He doesn't need to win 11 fucking title defenses. No one gives a shit about that title that he's trying to break. That's a cool thing to have. It's a nice stat to have. But he wants money in the bank, he wants respect, and he wants cash. It's as simple as that.
It's just an unfortunate... It just seems like an unfortunate situation at 125 pounds because I just don't know that there's anything that can be done at that weight class that's super marketable, with the exception of these bigger guys kind of moving down, guys that have made their names for themselves at higher weight classes. But what that really tells you is that people aren't interested in the smaller guys, that they need bigger guys, to move down to generate any interest at all,
listen, a while ago, I would have agreed with that straight away, but I don't know. I mean, the 135 division has got pretty sexy. Of course, 145, is a very interesting division. Cody Garbrandt versus Dominic Cruz. What an amazing fight that was. And I think everybody's invested in seeing Cody versus TJ. I don't think that fight's happening, at least not for a while now. So I don't know. I mean, the problem is 125s are very, very small guys. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, look, after he fights TJ, who's the guy after that? I got to be, even at 135, it starts to be a little bit, it took a while for 145 pounds for it to be truly like a division that people gave a shit about. And it was kind of Conor that did that. You know, Jose was just kind of crushing everybody, and it was great to watch him be dominant. But once it seems like nobody's going to beat him, you just kind of go like, all right. Jose Aldo, if you remember back in the day when he was dominating, nobody was buying his pay-per-views. They talked about that being an issue with Jose Aldo, and they were like, oh, he's got to learn English, and he's not really marketable. But it was, I think, a big part of it. It's not necessarily just the English. I think it's people have a problem watching the smaller guys. When we think about fighting, prize fighting, heavyweight boxers, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, those big monsters, you're like, holy shit, those guys are larger than life. And I think the smaller you get, when you get down to 145 pounds, 135 pounds, 125, you have to have a long time and a lot of data and a lot of amazing fights and a lot of moments to really get people excited about it. And now we're just getting there at 145 pounds. And with...
So you're absolutely right. But the thing is that the reason, you know, the stereotypical reason or the reason that gets thrown around is why people don't like to watch the little guys, and 125ers would be certainly classed as little guys, is because they don't finish fights and they don't have the punching power. And a lot of it's just a couple of guys dancing around for 15, 25 minutes and pitter-patter, and it's not too exciting. But that said, Demetrious Johnson, to his credit, does stop fights. I'm looking at his record now. Wilson Hayes, what is it? Submission, armbar. Fight before that, Tim Elliott, okay, decision. Before that, Henry Cejudo, TKO. Kyoji Horiguchi, armbar. Chris Carriaso, Kimura. Joseph Benavidez, KO. John Moraga, submission. Yeah, there is submission. Yeah, there is decisions, pardon me, thrown in there as well. But it's not like every one of his fights is going to a decision. He is stopping fights. He is submitting people. He is knocking people out. So, I don't know. It's a tricky one. He is a small guy. He's very dominant. At the end of the day, before we continue talking about this forever, I think he should take on TJ. I think he should take on Cody. I think he should fight Dominic Cruz. I think he should move on. He's certainly become super dominant at featherweight, flyweight, whatever the fuck weight it is. See what I mean? That's the problem. I don't even know what weight it is. I know it's flyweight, but I said featherweight. The fact of the matter is, they're all very, very small.
Yeah, why couldn't he? I guess he wants to get the record or whatever. But I would say, fuck it, dude. Throw away the 125-pound title like Conor did and move up and go get the one loss is against Dominic Cruz. I believe that's his only loss ever, right?
Yeah, I think so. No, Brad Pickett as well.
Oh, like years ago. Yeah.
Long time ago in the WEC, Brad Pickett beat him.
All right, next question.
There we go. Next question.